back, All Elite family, for episode 28 of the All Elite podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Kazir, and as always, I'm joined by my boy, Bitter Mark, AEW fan, pro wrestling enthusiast, All Elite AJ. How's it going, AJ?
It's been going all right. Nothing major going on. I watched wrestling. I missed the G1. That's about it.
How could you, man? As a pro wrestling fan in the middle of the summer, how do you miss the G1
I was
finals,
watching
man?
all of it. Also, you didn't watch any.
I didn't watch any of it. So to be honest, who am I to critique you? But honestly, the G1 is one of the bigger things in wrestling. Honestly, it's what got me into New Japan wrestling and things like that. You and Phil pulling me in to watch the G1 many years ago throughout a summer there, and we watched it all together. And it's so to see it wrap up this year and to see obviously AEW's limited involvement with John Moxley, and obviously that wasn't even a partnership between the companies, but more so just Moxley doing his own thing. It's still cool to see another G1 wrap up, but not a lot to talk about here.
No.
Obviously, Moxley was a part of it, but he obviously didn't come out as the victor. People were speculating that there was a chance that he was undefeated throughout the majority of it until the last four or so.
Yeah, Yano beat him, and then it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, and he ended up losing to Juice in the one of his final matches, right? So that sort of
that makes sense. I thought that I didn't like this G1 because everything was very predictable, including that, because they had a really good match when he debuted, and so it went full circle when Juice got his win back because he went crazy.
Yeah, and obviously you sort of know the layout and the schedule of G1, so as things start to happen, you can sort of see the pieces come together. And in New Japan, they don't really try and throw you the curveballs just for the sake of throwing you a curveball. So if you have an idea of what's going on, you know what's going to happen. But that's not always a bad thing. It wasn't the worst show. But on my end, I really haven't been up to much. I've just been doing a lot of moving and a lot of things in that nature. But finished up moving. Obviously, have a different backdrop now as I've moved around my computer stuff and that type of thing. Moving into a new house. But AEW's also done a little bit of changes. They've announced, or people have gotten the news or the information, that AEW has officially trademarked the term AEW Revolution. Many are speculating that this is going to be the trademark utilized for AEW's upcoming television show in the future. What do you think, AJ?
I hope so. I really like this name. I like it a lot more than Dynamite. I think Revolution... Cody did that revolutionary gimmick before, and they've been calling AEW Revolution. I think it fits. I think it's way better than... I didn't like Dynamite at all.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't a fan of the Dynamite name. I think that Revolution fits a lot more. It obviously fits the vibe that they're trying to give off with All Elite Wrestling and that type of thing. Also, AEW's Wednesday Night Revolution sounds... it's good enough to draw people in. Way better than Wednesday Night Dynamite and things like that, so... overall, it's not a bad thing, and it's a much better name in the long run if that's the name that they end up deciding to go with. And then from there, AEW also announced that their following two shows are going to be in Boston and Philadelphia. Yeah. The Boston show Wednesday, October 9th, and then the Philadelphia show on Wednesday, October 16th. What do you think about that? Two traditionally big markets for wrestling. They're obviously hitting up the Northeast a lot, so...
Yeah, we were talking about Philly. We didn't. I think we even mentioned Boston. Now that I think about it, so yeah, I think that's a good move. I think that's the smart thing to do. I do expect them to do a show in LA, but I don't know if they should.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I almost wonder, are they then going to continue up in the Northeast and hit New York as people are hoping for? I mean, obviously they're close enough with these two shows, but at this rate, and they want to keep the travel easy for their superstars. I think it'll almost be what you see in New Japan, where it's like a tour. You tour one section of the country, and then they move down south and tour that section, and so on and so forth. And for a wrestling fan, that can be pretty cool if you have the money and the time to travel to these different areas, because Philly, Boston, New York, all of those areas are generally not too far away from each other, and obviously Washington, D.C. up in that area as well. It's cool if you're a wrestling fan, and I mean, obviously you would need a good amount of money to travel to all of these shows, but it's still
cool.
They're close and they're in the right vicinity.
And aside from that, it's kind of amazing because think about like even TNA in like 2008. The only traveling they did was house shows, but every TV taping was in Orlando. And before that it was Knoxville, I think, or Tennessee, wherever in Tennessee. So like this hasn't happened in a long time for like a company to be touring doing TV tapings that isn't WWE.
Yes, and these venues are not small venues by any
Yeah.
means. The second show in Boston is going to be at the Agganis Arena. It's a 7,200 capacity, and then the Philadelphia show is going to be at the Licorice Center, which is a 10,200 seat venue. So they can limit these seats and make them smaller if they don't necessarily sell as well as they're expecting to. But honestly, the ticket prices for these events, they're set to be
Yeah.
what, $90 for the highest price seat, and then $20 just to
They
get
should
in for the
not
cheapest
have a
seat.
problem. If they have a problem in Boston and Philly, that's a big issue.
The only thing I could see is that they sold out that big venue in DC because a lot of these fans were traveling there. But
That's
even
true.
still, if you're a fan from Boston, say I live in Boston and I bought tickets to the DC show because it was close enough for me to go to and travel there, I'm still gonna drop the money to go to this show in Boston because it's
Yeah.
cheap enough. It's
That's
$50
true.
for a decent seat, $20 for a cheap seat, $90 if you're fortunate enough to get one of those close seats. Like, to me, it's a no-brainer. Even if you live close, you're not hurting from that or
Yeah.
necessarily going to be a downfall for you. So I think that's one thing that is really going to be a benefit for them. And I think that if these shows also sell out or they do very well, then that says a lot about AEW. We continue to say that, I think, every time too. If they could sell out this show, if they could sell out this show. But the thing is, they continue to do it. Cody Rhodes
Yeah, I'm not
himself
doubting.
wasn't even anticipating selling out this first show. He said in an interview that he was really happy to hear about it, but initially he wasn't anticipating to sell out. He anticipated a good turnout, but that they sold out so easily and quickly is amazing to see.
Yeah, no, it really is, because I think you have the idea that, okay, it might not sell out, or at least not right away for sure. Go thinking about, okay, Fyter Fest didn't sell out, and Fight for the Fallen didn't sell out.
But they sold out a 10,000 seat venue in Washington, D.C. So their analytics are there and the statistics
great.
are there to tell them, hey, this is a place for you to go. Hey, this is a place for you to go. And as they continue to put on good shows, they're going to do good ratings, which are going to draw fans to come in.
That's what I'm saying. They couldn't be doing better considering.
And then an interesting thing to note with that Boston show on Wednesday, October 9th, is that the Young Bucks announced this past weekend at the House of Glory show that they were going to be facing Private Party at that October 9th show as the first match in the AEW Tag Team Tournament. What do you think about this announcement from that High Intensity 8 event?
I'm excited. That sounds like a great match. I'm sad the Private Party are definitely going to lose. But
Dude, I hope you're wrong, man. I hope that they get that upset victory in some way, shape, or form, and it turns out the best for them. But I think you're probably right that it is unfortunate to almost see that Private Party is going to be knocked out so quickly, and that's where I question the booking here. Do we want to really knock out a team that was really generating a lot of hype going into this tournament and into all of these matches? Every match that Private Party I've seen, at least, they've gotten a popular reaction and continue to grow. So do you really want to beat them this early, or
I feel very
if they put them over? Yeah, I'm gonna be really anti-Young Bucks when the show happens and they lose, and it's gonna have to be one of those. Well, it was a great match, man, but
no.
Yeah,
it's not okay.
I would rather see them bring in like an older team that they had a match with, even if it was like we had talked about, like the Motor City Machine Guns and teams like that they had faced in the past.
If you can bring in stolen away,
or even if they faced SCU, that's a good team for them to beat and then continue on in the tournament and maybe put over another team in the second round, because the Bucks shouldn't even be losing in the first round either. So in my opinion, neither of these teams should lose, and it's just the opportunity for them to put a good match on paper. But
I agree. But I do hope Private Party wins. It'll be a great match, though. Yeah, it will. I know we said that's a dumb thing to spit. It will be really fun to watch.
Oh, and that's the dead giveaway. But at the end of the day, it comes down to a lot of like what we look at with WWE, and they give away really good matches on traditional television. And then what do you have to look forward to as a pay-per-view? Now, I know AEW doesn't have a pay-per-view lined up off of their TV, so it's probably months down the road that we'd be looking at. But still, this is a match that I could have seen as the finals of this whole tournament on a pay-per-view event. But instead, it's given away on their second TV show, basically as a means to put the Bucks over is what it's going to be at the end of the day. I mean, you can't... It'll make Private Party look good to shine on that national stage and be put on that scale, but if they still lose to the Young Bucks, they're going to look bad, and it'll make them look really good if they get the win. But like I said, I don't want to see the Bucks of all teams knocked out of the tag team tournament first. Not in my opinion. I'm good on that. Yeah, but overall, it's not a bad thing. And then something else that happened at the House of Glory event, Hangman Page cut a pretty cool promo. We're actually going to show you that promo here, and then we'll discuss it here in a minute. So,
Chris Jericho. He's enough of an asshole to claim the fame of All Elite Wrestling, enough to ask for a thank you for it. And I know that All Elite Wrestling only happens because these two guys decided to do some real cowboy shit.
real cowboy shit.
These guys decided to take their phones out and document their lives for you. They decided to give opportunities to guys like me, and they decided that they wanted to change the wrestling world. And if history teaches us anything, it's that the people who need deep in their souls to change the world, those are the people who win in the end. So, at all odds, I'm going to ride into the Sears Center in Chicago, and I'm going to fight Chris Jericho. I'll fight him with everything in my body. I'll give you all of my sweat, all of my blood, everything in my heart and in my soul, because I will show him and I will show everyone else that the people who change the world, the people who win, are the people who do cowboy shit. And at the end of the night, I will walk out, I'll ride a horse out of the Sears Center as the first all-elite wrestling world champion, Chris Jericho.
And so, what did you think of this promo by Hangman Page? I thought that he leaned into the cowboy shit thing maybe just a little too much.
A little too much.
Um,
It was good. It was the good move. It was a good thing they did. I'm glad they did it.
we've wanted it for a while. So,
Yeah.
and the thing about it is it definitely made me more hyped for Hangman going
Yeah.
into his match, and it made me a little bit more excited for him, and gave me a little bit of a vibe that they're trying to actually make him a champion.
Yeah.
The reason being is
Overall
just,
good.
just like seeing them, like he's cutting a promo in front of a live audience, and I thought about it. I'm like, how many times has he probably done this? How many times has he gotten a feel for being the guy that's in the center of the ring as the center of attention and the main guy, and has the whole crowd's attention and has them chanting at him? And that's where when he leaned into the cowboy shit thing a little bit too much and almost a little too late, I felt like
Yeah.
like it was like 30 seconds too late. Like they were just like, and it wasn't a bad thing. And it's probably going to turn into something where they turn it into a T-shirt, or it's going to be his new catchphrase or something stupid like that. But because that's what happens in wrestling. But
It does, yeah.
he definitely, like the way he leaned into it at the very end, I was like, oh, I don't know about all
It's
that.
too much.
There's going to be some real cowboy shit. I was like, all right, dude, you had it there with the first one. Less is more, dude. And that's got to be the biggest thing. And like I said, it was just traditionally, in my way, I seen it as like a developmental promo for Adam Page becoming a main event superstar, the main guy on the AEW roster.
Yeah. That's really a good way to look at it. I didn't think about it that way, but you're totally right. It's definitely like a grooming mechanism to get him ready for that. But also, just in general, I liked it because I thought it was it's what I've wanted to do, like build this feud, is just have him cut regular promos.
And he was traditionally, like for the most part, very serious, or like he did lean into the cowboy shit a little bit, but it was still, he was pretty serious about what he was
Yeah.
talking about and all that. So it was a good promo too. He didn't really fumble his words or anything like that. So he seemed serious. He seemed like a main event caliber guy, or someone treating himself like a legitimate superstar. And this is something they needed to do, and it makes sense at this House of Glory show. Maybe not, like, it's a good thing they didn't do it in AAA or something like that, where the fans aren't going to even understand what he's saying. Saying it here at House of Glory is a perfect place to do it. You get to address the crowd and say all these things, and hopefully they continue to give him opportunities to do this. Maybe even at, like, the weigh-in, that was something that we wanted in the past with him and Pac, was him to come out and cut a really great promo. Hopefully they can do that. Maybe with his weigh-in with Jericho or something leading into their main event, because while this promo was good, it's not good enough to be the final thing I hear from Hangman going into his championship match. But overall, it wasn't bad, and it was cool to see them continue to do that for him.
Yeah.
And then from there, AEW has announced the signing of none other than Orange Cassidy. They announced that with this video, as we can see right here to the left. Orange Cassidy squeezing orange juice into a blender. He then adds the AEW contract into the blender as well, blends it all up, puts it in a cup, throws in his signature sunglasses, and that's what we get to announce that Orange Cassidy has signed. You either love Orange Cassidy or you hate him. On the All Elite podcast here, we love Orange Cassidy.
Anybody who hates Orange Cassidy is
You're just bitter, man. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're the bitter Mark, so you should hate him, but we love him, man. There's nothing wrong with a little Orange Cassidy in your life. And honestly, AEW is going to need guys to beat. And Orange Cassidy is a popular guy to beat. And that's really what you need in wrestling at the end of the... Like, those guys they don't come every day. Like, he's literally like a Heath Slater type. You know what I mean?
He's way better, though. I've loved this gimmick for... This gimmick has had a lasting effect, because I've seen this for a long time now.
Well, and he's been around for a long time, and he's been a good hand for a long time, so he's going to consistently be someone who
can't say that.
Nah, he can make guys look good, man, and that's what
a good hand.
He's a good hand. I don't give a fuck
Shawn Spears is going to beat you up.
Yeah, Shawn Spears can bring it, and Orange Cassidy, he ain't going to have no problem with being a good hand, so...
No, of course not.
So, I mean, overall, like I said, it depends on how you look at it. If you're someone who hates Orange Cassidy, I get it to an extent, but you don't need to take wrestling so serious. And then if you don't take it so serious, you can look at it from the perspective of what I do. He's not here to be a main eventer. He's here to be a guy who puts people over, sometimes gets a surprise victory, and that's about it.
Yeah, he did main event against Nick Gage for the GCW title. He did not win.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. If you're upset about it, that's your own problem. Even the promo, dude, the way they put it together,
that was great.
Perfect for Orange Cassidy, and it was really fun to watch, and I enjoyed it.
He doesn't do anything bad. Stop bullying him.
Nah, man. Anybody bullying him is on their Jim Cornette gimmick, brother. All he's doing is entertaining the masses.
He's a good man.
But from there, we got to jump to our Road to All Out recap. This Road 2 opened up with an in memory of Harley Race. From there, we jump to the AEW Control Center with Alex Marvez, and he's talking about news out of Mexico City. And from there, we get highlights of AEW's involvement at Triple Mania. Cody Rhodes obviously went to Mexico to team with Cain Velasquez and Psycho Clowns. We got highlights of that. We also got highlights of the Elite appearing at Triple Mania to face the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid in a rematch from their match at Fight for the Fallen or Fyter Fest. So Lucha Bros won this match, and this is apparently to hype up the ladder match at All Out. I don't know how you feel about this necessarily. It's the same. Well, it's the same thing we keep seeing. Lucha Brothers win at AAA. The Young Bucks win at AEW.
I hope the Bucks lose.
Well, even if they lose, like, it doesn't matter because they're going to lose the AAA Tag Team Championships and then go on to, like, win in their tag team tournament the next week, like we already talked about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not. I really wanted this to be SCU, Lucha Brothers, Young Bucks, because I was hoping, okay, they're going to do a sick 2v2v2 ladder match, but that's not what they're doing. They're doing a regular 2v2 ladder match, and I don't know if I'm happy about that.
Well, and my thing about it is they wanted to promote the tag team division as being something really important, but the way that they've done it with the AAA tag team titles and then trying to introduce their tag team titles 2 weeks later, and so the Young Bucks could lose this match, not win the titles, but then still be in a tag team title tournament. It's really weird to me. It is
weird
because these titles shouldn't mean anything really to AEW, so why are you putting yourself in a tag team title match, in a ladder match of all things? I mean,
I guess they don't trust the feud to be enough, because frankly, it's not.
Well, at this point, it's really not, and you're right. And it really, I mean, it's a good match on paper, but after you've seen it so many times on the independent scene, and then you try to put it on
Right?
these
It's too
major
much.
shows, it becomes like you have to add something to it. Oh, well, let's add the AAA tag team titles and make people want to care about these belts that really won't mean anything in 2 weeks because that's when our tournament starts. And so
I
that's
mean,
really
it'll
my
be a
only
ladder
gripe
match.
with it.
That'll be cool.
Well, and it'll be a
think,
good match, and like the highlights that they did for this on Road 2, it was really good. It was really interesting. Alex Marvez, and I do think they need to just pick someone for this position on the
They
control
do.
center. Stop,
I think they should just go with Chris Van Vliet. He's
stop
good.
rotating it out with someone new every week because that's really weird to watch.
It's super weird.
But from there, Alex Marvez tosses to Brandy Rhodes, and she's there to talk about the Casino Battle Royale. And she announces that it's back, and every 3 minutes it'll be groups of women coming out. The Joker card will also be in play, but we have Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, Yuka Sakazaki, Allie, and even Brandy herself. So she announces that they need more women on the roster as they don't exactly have 21, so you could see a favorite that you hadn't seen in the past, or maybe she's going to be the one to win. So she's teasing all kinds of different things here. The Casino Battle Royal being back is pretty cool, I think. What did you think?
I was looking forward to one. We were like, oh man, I hope it's not a battle royal. And then it was a battle royal. And then on top of it being a battle royal, I was like, all right, well it's a battle royal, but maybe they've learned from their mistakes, and then it's like a casino battle royal, and it's like, oh my god, why?
Right back to it, and I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll do it right this time. Maybe it'll be a little bit better. It seems a little bit organized,
It's
more
so
so.
bad.
They talked about every 3 minutes that it's going to be groups coming out.
I'm
Your Joker
excited
card could be really
about the
exciting,
people.
but I don't know. How
Yeah,
exciting
I
could it
mean,
be?
Like, I'm not
It
disinterested.
could be Tessa, though. If that's where Tessa debuts, I'm hyped.
Oh god, that's great.
If that's your Joker as Tessa, that's sweet.
That would be awesome. I'd love that.
So there are those things to take into play, and that makes the battle royal a little bit more exciting. And I think
Yeah, I
that
don't-
may
I
be
don't
the
hate
only
it.
reason that they're doing it like this. Because if you throw all 20 in, you can't have that big surprise at the end. Whereas if
Yeah.
you have them come out in waves, you can have that big surprise at the very least.
Yeah, just have them come out. I don't know. Just have her be last.
I just don't want to see them all come out like 4 at a time.
I feel like there
Every
was a better
team,
way.
like
to
the
do
way they
this.
did it last time was awful.
It was so bad.
So outside of that, I'm excited about this. This is our way to crown our first number one contender. I'm assuming that there will be a one-on-one match as well. But the thing that
I'd hope
disappointed
so.
me was that they had announced Britt Baker was going to be in this match. So are we not getting the Britt Baker B Priestley match that we had anticipated?
I guess
and
not.
instead we're just getting this battle royal. Like that's the one thing I was confused about because our
Unless
first champion
B.
is
Priestley
crowned.
wins.
Well, our first champion's supposed to be crowned at the first show on TV.
I have
So-
no idea.
And
Maybe
it-
this is a
it-
bad idea, but whatever.
I mean, they obviously have a plan. They're gonna flesh it
Yeah.
out, and they're going to announce like someone or something as the opponent on that first week, and they obviously have the whole month after of August. But I was hoping that coming out of All Out, we would know exactly who the two women would be, and it would be the Casino Battle Royale winner, and then Bea Priestley versus Britt Baker, and that build is what we should have gotten with Adam Page versus Pac, and then the Casino Battle Royale there. So I was almost like, oh, cool, we're gonna do it right this time.
This is
but
a
then
bad
they talked
idea
about Britt
I'm
Baker
interested
here.
in.
Well, and then I guess the thing that really interested me is they obviously talked about Teal Piper being someone involved in this
Yeah.
match as well. They had a little promo for Teal getting her card, and Jake the Snake Roberts is the guy throwing everybody their card during this episode. I mean, that's cool. He can
That was
play this
fun.
position, but how many different roles are we gonna have Jake Roberts play before we?
I'm
have
fine with
overused
Jake
him?
Roberts just popping up in places. That
All
sounds
the
great to
time.
me. Yeah, that's
I
great.
mean, if this is his official role, it's perfect for him. But I
yeah,
know-
right.
Teal Piper was someone interesting. I did not even know that Roddy
I
Piper
didn't
had
either.
a daughter that was a wrestler or going to be wrestling.
Maybe
So
I
maybe
did, but I
she's
don't
really
remember.
new and hasn't really done anything. But even still, I'm interested.
Yeah, it seems cool. I mean, she is new. She said that. Like, she said she just started.
Really fresh, but that's sketchy, man.
That's super sketchy. But I'm interested. I hope it's good.
Yeah, and I mean,
don't want it to be bad.
No, I don't think. I mean, I guess I have no reason to speculate either way if it will be good or bad. But she looks cool.
Yeah.
She's Roddy Piper's daughter. That automatically makes it cool in my book. So there's that. And then We also had Jake the Snake Roberts deal a card to a masked woman. We had no idea who it was at first, but then she reveals herself to be none other than Jazz. Jazz the badass from when I was a fan growing up and I was younger, I hated Jazz because she was always killing Trish Stratus or killing any of my favorites in the women's division, and she's someone who added legitimacy back then to a division that was not to be taken seriously at all. So
Yeah,
Jazz is someone who would have really thrived, I think, in the last 4 years if she was younger and things like that. So this is an interesting addition. She looks good. Like, she don't look like she's not in shape, so she looks like she'll be good.
Yeah.
So
I mean, she looks good. I don't know how good she's gonna be, but I hope she's just as good as ever. But I don't know. We'll see.
That's the thing, is you have no idea how she's gonna be because she'll be older. She doesn't look bad, like I said. She looks like she's pretty cool. I don't know where this mask thing came into play, if that's something she's been doing for a long time, or I don't remember Jazz wearing a mask.
No, she definitely
Has she been working in like Japan maybe or something?
No, she hasn't been in Japan. I don't think so anyways.
So who knows? Maybe she's been up to something and is still working and honestly hasn't lost it. Like I said, she doesn't look bad, and this is one of those positions where you could see a legend or an old superstar come back and be like, wow, they didn't lose a step. They should be back full time. And there's a lot of beasts in this match for women, especially. We have Awesome Kong, we have Jazz, and then they also closed out the show with a hype video for Nyla Rose, really promoting everything that Nyla has gone through within her life, and just discussing that she says that she knew all her life she was someone who she couldn't be herself at the time. She had to put a mask on to hide who she was, but eventually she realized that it wasn't good for her mental health and decided that she was just going to be who she wanted to be. She said that the one place she expected to be shunned was in professional wrestling, but then they ended up being the place where she was embraced the most initially. She was so humble and happy to get a job with AEW and be embraced by that community. And she just says that she continues to put her blood, sweat, and tears into the business, and it's surreal that she can be where she's at and be herself within wrestling. So I thought this was an interesting way to close out the show, to continue promoting Nyla Rose. And I mean, AEW continues to try to promote to a diverse community that professional wrestling hasn't already promoted.
That's
towards.
good.
They're aiming at a demographic that wrestling doesn't aim to. So that's fine. And I see that. We see that obviously a lot with Nyla Rose, a lot with Sunny Kiss, a lot with them just consistently promoting
It's different with Sunny Kiss, though, because Sunny Kiss isn't supposed to be a monster. Sunny Kiss
you're
is
right.
supposed to be a nice, likable guy, but I'm not. I feel like I'm not supposed
Yeah,
to be
like
like,
Nyla
man,
Rose
I
is supposed to be a
sympathize with Nyla
badass.
Rose.
Yeah.
She has my empathy. Like, I feel like she's just supposed to murder people.
Yeah, like we don't really even need to know her story.
And I get why they did it, but I have bitter mark in me that's saying no, it's bad.
Well, yeah, and it's just generally in the sense of like the wrestling sense of, well, she's supposed to be a heel. Why are we doing anything to show sympathy for her? And that's how it should be. But it's also interesting that AEW just continues to like. They just continue to target different demographics than what you see in wrestling. And I think that's a good thing and a positive thing. But it's just the thing that's difficult for it as a fan is it's obviously not meant for you. Or maybe not meant for you, but not like it just wasn't meant to cater to all fans. And so if you're, I don't know. It's nothing that I'm against or anything. I think
bad.
it was a great promo. They did a good job at showcasing Nyla Rose and building that sympathy for her. But as you said, this isn't someone that we're supposed to be necessarily feeling sympathetic for. She's supposed to come in and destroy all of the wrestlers in her way and take them all down. And especially when but maybe the idea is to separate her from the Jazzes and the Awesome Kongs, where she's not just a badass. She's a badass with a story, and her story isn't bad. It's an interesting story, and it's interesting to see as a wrestling fan that the wrestling community was so quick to embrace her, because that makes sense to me. I'm personally someone who doesn't like really take all these things and worry about them just because of my past and things that I've dealt with. Like, I don't worry about people being trans or gay or anything like that, so that doesn't affect me. That doesn't bother me. So it's cool to see that in general wrestling seems to be that way, which makes sense because you're watching men in tights at the end of the day. So if you really have that big of a problem with those kind of things, then I don't know. I'm not here to judge anybody and what their views and opinions are, but I do think that there's no sense in wasting time being upset about this. So it's cool to see that Nyla hasn't had to have those struggles since transitioning within wrestling, and that's cool. But
Yeah.
I agree with you in the sense of it. This just doesn't make sense as a fan, but it makes sense from a business standpoint.
Oh yeah, for sure. That looks really good. But I don't know. It's fine. Like I don't really care that much. It's just I
I think, and
can't
that's my
shake
biggest
that.
point is that I
Okay.
just don't really care so much about Nyla Rose's character at this point. And
Yeah. It
so for
doesn't
this to
matter.
be
It's not
such a
that impactful.
it's such a long thing to close out the show on that I just wasn't really interested in.
Yeah, there is that.
It
'Cause,
wasn't
like,
bad. It was just like the one thing that I obviously noted and paid attention to was like,
didn't
wow,
need
it's
it
cool
that
that
much.
within wrestling that was a community that really took to you and understood what you were going through, and I thought that was really cool. And I think all of it's interesting. I just think it was so long, and I don't know. I'm always trying to backseat produce too. I'm always trying to say, well, maybe this shouldn't be too long. Maybe
Well,
we
what
should
else
add a
are we
video
gonna
for
do?
this. Man,
Be positive and nice to the company we
well, and
enjoy.
the thing is, it was a well produced video. Nyla Rose comes off looking great, but is she someone that we're supposed to be feeling sympathetic for, or is she
I
someone
don't
that
know.
we're supposed to be looking at
Both.
as the bad guy? And I mean, I guess that's a weird line that the company has to figure out anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine. I did think
What
it
I
was
do
a cool
commend them
video.
on, I guess, is not just promoting her as a monster character, because
Yeah.
that's kind of rude to what she has been through and stuff like that. So
That's
in
kinda
that sense,
true.
it's cool.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Like, good on them and good on her for not just necessarily going that route of, all right, let's promote this as a monster character. Because if you are a wrestling fan who is dealing with transgender issues, you don't want to see yourself or the character that you relate with just as a monster character.
I mean, in the ring though, she's still gonna be throwing people around.
Oh yeah, well, I think that's the point. Is that she can be like a monster in the ring, but outside of the ring,
That's
she's still
true.
like a regular person. So
I feel my mind has been progressed. Progressive cast.
yeah, I
This
mean,
is
and
good.
and it's just cool, and I think that's the point. That's the point of characters like this within AEW, and with AEW promoting characters like this so much, is to help fans become more progressive and become more understanding of, well, okay, maybe this character doesn't just have to be presented as a monster because of this thing that we don't understand. Maybe they can be presented as a whole different character that we didn't even think about to begin with, and that's something that AEW has done so well. From Jungle Boy to Nyla Rose to Cody Rhodes
Jungle Boy
to
is taken
everyone.
off in a way I have never expected when I said to make him our band.
Well, dude, and like literally, if you think about it, the way that they make these characters that you would think are so one track and can only be
Right.
one thing, and they've been able to utilize them in a different way, all except the librarians. So.
Yeah, that's not going well.
But I mean, overall, it's been a positive week for AEW. That was a good
It has.
episode of Road 2. I didn't have any issues with that. I thought a
it's
lot of
good.
the news. It's interesting because as we come closer to television, as we come closer to All Out, things are becoming more busy.
Yeah.
After every episode, it seems like the next day or the next couple days, they're just dropping loads of information on
Yeah,
the next
a lot.
couple shows that they're going to
Which
do,
is
and
great.
like the Philly and Boston thing, and it's great because it gives us more to talk about and gives you as a fan more to get excited about, like seeing the dates and seeing the venues and seeing the matchups that they're creating for these live shows. That is making me super excited for just the All Elite live on TNT thing, and obviously I'm super excited to go to All Out and things like that. So just in general, I'm really hyped up and excited based on all of the announcements and the news that they've provided for fans up to this point.
Oh yeah, it's been great, and I think AEW is on a really good track right now with all the news this week.
Yeah, man. I mean, just the matchups they've announced, the venues that they've announced. They've discussed the Cody and Sammy Guevara match as being a super important match, as being the first match on AEW TV and things like that. They do a good job at promoting matchups that you weren't really even expecting or excited
They
for
sure
to
do.
begin with. So, but overall, that really wraps everything up for us this week on the All Elite Podcast. AJ, go ahead and promote your social media accounts.
You can follow me on Instagram at AJTheFitzy, or you can follow me on Twitter at BigMatchAJ. Your turn.
Yeah, you can obviously all see the All Elite Podcast social medias down below. You can also follow me at All Elite Andy on Twitter. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're checking us out on YouTube for the first time. Be sure to share, as we obviously have all this merch behind us to continue giving away as over the next coming weeks and things like that.
What kind of
And
merch?
today is the day that I'm going to finish editing all the fantasy numbers and have those put up and on the website. So if you're listening to this, by the time you're listening to it, the website will be updated, the fantasy numbers will be there, and you'll be able to check the standings and see all of that. Next episode, we will actually break down the tiers and the prize giveaways for next week and the fantasy breakdown, basically. I haven't officially announced what first place, second place, third place gets, so next week is when we'll announce exactly what you get.
I hope it's a t-shirt.
Nothing but t-shirts. First place t-shirt, second place t-shirt, third place t-shirt. Dude, you're spoiling all of it. Thank you everybody for tuning into the All Elite Podcast. Until next time, see ya.